Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So look at that, guys. The crypto market cap up to 249.9 billion. Only a couple of weeks ago, it was just hovering around that 200 mark, and even below that. So we got Bitcoin trading at 8,892, almost 9,000. Ethereum at 215, and XRP at 0.223. A lot in the green right now. Bitcoin down a little bit by 0.21%. But look at these charts, guys. So we had a steady kind of increase, and we're seeing this across the board here, okay? I'm pointing out Bitcoin right now. XRP kind of did the same thing, but look at this. Steady increase and then a sharp move up with a quick jut down, and now kind of hovering. And I think we're going to, you guys can see that. I don't know if you guys can see on this chart here. This is just from CoinMarketCap, just the chart that they have on the side. But you can see a slight curve to that, and the curve is more prominent on Ethereum and XRP. Look, it's very prominent here on XRP and some of the other altcoins down here. So altcoins looking like they want to gain momentum. Bitcoin still kind of moving up. And this is an interesting thing, I think, because in the past we've seen Bitcoin move up first. Bitcoin usually rallies and then the alts rally afterwards. But now we're seeing something a little different. We're seeing alts rally in tandem with Bitcoin. So this is something a little different than what we've seen in the past. And so what can we expect? Well, this for one is kind of good. We don't have to wait for alts to rally, and let's hope alts rally as Bitcoin does in the next bull run so we can see consistent gains throughout the next several months. You guys have to remember back in 2016, we saw Bitcoin rally. Here, let me just zoom out here. We saw Bitcoin rally significantly in 2016 throughout 2017. So here is the beginning of 2016. I'll just mark it here with a little circle here just so you guys can see the beginning of 2016. And this over here was the end of 2017. So a 2-year period, okay, where we saw significant movement for Bitcoin. 2 years, guys, 2 years of growth. And so Bitcoin went, what did it trade for on January 1st, 2016? The high was $436, and we know by the end of 2017, it was trading for around $20,000. So what kind of increase was that? Guys, I did some quick math here just to show you guys the increase that we saw for Bitcoin was 4,410% in that 2-year period with continuous gains. And so, you know, we saw XRP move up, and we've done the calculations throughout 2017 for XRP. We know that it made most of its move in 2017 in the last couple of weeks, and then the first week of 2018 shot from around 22 cents all the way to all-time highs. But now if altcoins are rallying with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin saw, what was it, 4,410%, where would that bring XRP? Guys, if we applied the same 4,410% to XRP over the next 2 years, that would bring us to a $9.70 XRP. Now, we know historically these altcoins show bigger returns than Bitcoin. I've done several videos demonstrating how Bitcoin actually is one of the worst performing cryptos in the space. One of those reasons why is because it's already at such a high price point that it needs to jump leaps and bounds to get higher, to gain more in percentage terms. And so while XRP just needs to go 22 cents to double, Bitcoin needs to increase by 8,800 to double. So this could be something interesting in the next bull run if we do see alts move in tandem with Bitcoin. It'll be interesting to see how they perform. Of course, I'm going to keep my eye on that and always report back, guys. So Charlie Shrem here says QE and the halving will spark a bull run, but not until 2021. And it could be one of those times where we start to see bullish activity like I was just explaining here in 2020. But we're really not going to see the bulk of it until 2021. So he was on a podcast, I believe, Fireside Chat with the VBW hosts on April 30th, which was yesterday. It's kind of crazy that we're having the halving, he says, during this beer flu pandemic. It's a black swan event. We have $2 trillion of money being printed in the United States. People are starting to get all that money, he says. Also, all these people are getting their unemployment benefits probably when they're about to go back to work, and they haven't been needing to spend much money while they're sitting at home for the past few months. And then you have the halving, where the selling pressure cuts in half all of a sudden, and the end of next week, a lot of the miners are amazing people, and they mine for the future. but they also have costs and they have to sell. So all of a sudden that pressure is cutting in half, just cut in half, and all this money. What do you think is going to happen? Charlie also took aim at the stock market. So he disses the traditional stock market, saying that it is manipulated. Of course, we know that. But crypto's also manipulated. Let's face it, Charlie, come on now. So the halving impact unlikely to be felt for many months, despite his bullish predictions for the halving. Shrem told Cointelegraph that it still may be many months before the impact on supply are fully felt. I was looking at the data and it looks like around the last halving, it wasn't that the price doubled instantly, but the last halving was actually the start of the epic bull run in 2017, which I just showed you guys. 2016 was kind of that build-up year, so which was a year and a half later, but the halving was definitely when the clock started with the miners, he said. It was a bullish momentum that started because it was post-halving and the selling pressure had halved. So there were a lot of really good things that worked out around that time, and I think we'll see that again. So Charlie Shrem, obviously a big Bitcoin proponent, made a lot of money off Bitcoin, went to jail because of Bitcoin. Nevertheless, he thinks we're going to see the same kind of thing that we saw back during the last halving, and so the last halving was 2016. In and around this time here, July, and you guys can see that, right? There was an initial counterintuitive sell-off period. Okay, when we saw this pre-halving, we saw the Bitcoin price rise and then it come right back down again. So if we see this, okay, this time around, don't be surprised. We're going to have to, and this is on the daily, guys. So I got Bitcoin on the daily here. If we see this, so so we're seeing this rally now pre-halving. Let's say the halving occurs and we see the price instantaneously drop. What we're looking for, though, is lower lows. Are we going any lower? Let's hope not. If the answer is no, we're in good shape. And then we'll slowly start to even out. Buyers and sellers will be happy with the price, and we will gradually see over the next few months new highs. So this wasn't until January 2017, significantly newer highs. And this again, June 2016, so 6 months later. So this is kind of the thing that Charlie Shrem is talking about here. But to me, that's okay, because if we are going to consistently see XRP price move in tandem with Bitcoin along with all the other alts, this could be a good thing for profit takers. And of course, we need that market ebb and flow. We need people taking profits at 50 cents, at $1 to alleviate some of that pressure. Let buyers keep buying up, and then, you know, it's ebb and flow, right? Supply and demand. As the market moves up, more people will buy, more people will sell. Hopefully the buying pressure is greater than the selling pressure, of course. We don't want everybody to hodl until that top price, especially not psychological barriers, and then everybody just sells at the same time, and that's what causes a huge cascade. And then the people who are still hodling get panicked, then they sell, and that's what spurs on a bear market, folks. Or at least part of what can spur on a bear market. And do you guys remember that video I showed you yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, regarding part of the IMF's plan to help the economy? Well, here's another little tidbit that I found interesting. Okay, guys, so this is from Dodler for XRP. He sent me this on Twitter, and this was the managing director's opening remarks at the Petersberg Climate Dialogue. And so we saw that little clip, that video clip with Kristalina Georgieva discussing how the IMF will help with the economy. I read through this. This seems to be the full speech here. And what I found here was really interesting. The number 2 point she mentions here was to promote green finance. And in particular, they're talking about stuff that is not really XRP related. We need to continue with emphasis on using green bonds, other forms of sustainable finance. In light of the extended use of government guarantees, part of them can be deployed to mobilize private finance for green investments. So some green investments here, basically looking at climate change and making sure investment portfolios are climate change positive. More broadly, we need to find better ways of pricing in the climate risk. New IMF analysis shows that over the past 50 years, climate-related disasters have only had a modest effect on equity markets. Okay, so a lot of this, though, has to do with climate change and being climate responsible. But the unsaid piece here is to promote green finance. And guys, we know XRP, one of the most green cryptocurrencies out there. Way more environmentally friendly than Bitcoin, uses way less energy. And this is the IMF stating that this is going to be important for the future. Now, on top of that, you have the fact that Ripple has already forged a lot of close relationships with the IMF, the BIS, the World Monetary Fund, a lot of these important organizations that are all trying to figure out the resolution for the world. So I thought that was really interesting. Thanks so much at Dodler for XRP on Twitter. Guys, I saw this too from XRP Crypto Wolf, and this with regards to the world's first crypto bank and how they're adding support for XRP. So Sygnum Bank, the first crypto bank licensed by FINMA, announced just yesterday that Ripple's XRP tokens are now available through its banking service platform. Users can access deposit, exchange, and credit services using the popular digital token. So they're based in Switzerland. The bank will now allow XRP, which they keep calling the third most capitalized digital token behind Bitcoin and Ethereum, to be used by clients seeking to diversify their direct investment in digital tokens, in conjunction with other asset management products offered. So Sygnum customers can now use deposits in traditional currencies such as the Swiss franc, the euro, the Singapore dollar, and the US dollar to buy, hold, and trade XRP tokens backed by the Ripple protocol. Additionally, though, customers can transfer XRP tokens to their Sygnum deposit account or increase their liquidity in traditional fiat currencies with a Lombard loan granted against XRP. And so here's a quote from Matthias Imbach, the co-founder of Sygnum. He says, "We were impressed with Ripple's excellent performance globally. They now have more than 300 financial institutions in their global payments network, RippleNet. The XRP-based solutions developed by the company resolve weak spots in the growing global remittance market of $700 billion. The low cost and transfers make it an ideal tool to facilitate payments in emerging economies." So down here it talks a little bit about more relationships that Ripple has with banks. Guys, I will link this article in the description for those of you guys who want to read further. But this is the world's first crypto bank, guys, based in Switzerland. Adding support for XRP, I don't know if any of you guys are surprised by that. I know I'm certainly not necessarily surprised, but excited to hear it because it's just adding value to the network. The network needs to grow, and when you add value, when you add XRP to that infrastructure, that just means that the XRP ecosystem grows as well. So thanks so much, XRP Crypto Wolf, for posting that. Guys, we also have this on Twitter from Arthur Portilla at Arthur_P_A. Ripple is really stepping up its game, and he links here the Q1 2020 XRP Markets Report. And it was a bit of an interesting quarter because we had something this time around that we hadn't seen before, and that was the pandemic. Some people dubbing it Black Thursday. They describe some of that up here. Guys, I will link the report in the description for those of you guys who want to read the full thing. But as digital asset holders rushed to transfer digital assets to either meet margin calls, sell out their positions, or take advantage of price dislocations, the BTC and Ethereum networks became overwhelmed and suffered performance issues. According to Coinmetrics, median transaction fees measured in dollars for both Bitcoin and Ethereum shot up almost fivefold. While the entire crypto market, including XRP, experienced volatility, the performance of the XRP ledger, such as transaction pricing and speed, remained stable, making XRP the preferred digital asset for funds trading. You know why that's important, right? This is the same reason all these exchanges, at least in my opinion, are listing XRP as a base pair on their exchange, because this is what we're going to see in a crazy bull market, guys. Once we see the price shoot up for Bitcoin and all the other alts, we are going to see the same thing that happened in 2017. And so we need XRP to work. The world needs XRP to work. People selling Bitcoin will likely, if they're smart, put their money into XRP first and then transact out. It'll be quicker than going from Bitcoin to fiat. Adding an extra step, isn't that kind of funny? Adding an extra step will actually be faster than going directly from Bitcoin to fiat. So a lot of things in this market report from Q1. Some charts here, guys. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. A few interesting things to highlight, though. This from John Luciano at LuckyJohn_XRP on Twitter. So Ripple's XRP sales dropped by 86% in Q1. So this, again, just from the Q1 2020 report, but it was outlined here from Daily Hodl. So I'm just going to take it from here. Ripple is outlining its quarterly sales of the crypto asset XRP, and the company sold $1.75 million worth of XRP, and that is down 86% from $13.08 million in the previous quarter. Now, we know they were already reducing the programmatic sales over the last 3 quarters or so, or maybe even more, maybe it was 4. But in Q1 2020, programmatic sales dropped even more by 86% over Q4 2019. The $1.75 million in XRP was sold directly to institutions, and Ripple sold 0 XRP on crypto exchanges, which it typically does programmatically. Ripple continued to pause the programmatic sales, focusing solely on its over-the-counter OTC sales to build XRP utility and liquidity in strategic regions, including the EMEA and Asia. So they're staying the course, and they're doing exactly what they told us they would do. Limit programmatic sales, make sure that XRP goes into the ecosystem to promote utility and to promote usage specifically. And guys, remember what Brad Garlinghouse said, the most valuable cryptocurrency will be the one with the most utility. At the end of the day, the spec traders can trade all they want, but that is ultimately the end game here. And so Ripple says XRP remittance volume surging, dollar value of crypto transactions up. And this number is actually wrong. It was misprinted here on the Daily Hodl. It's supposed to be 294% since Q4. So this with regards to remittances, transaction volumes on the network have spiked in recent months. Customers continue to see the value of XRP through significant cost savings by eliminating the need to pre-fund accounts, we know. And from Q4 2019 to Q1 2020, RippleNet's on-demand liquidity service tripled in transaction volume, and the dollar value transacted increased by more than 294%. They also note down here that MoneyGram is the most high-profile user of ODL and says it uses the product to move 10% of its transaction volume between the US and Mexico. Ripple and MoneyGram partnered in June, as we all know, and in November, Ripple completed its purchase of a $50 million stake in the company. And guys, they're only using 10% right now. Can you imagine when that goes up to 100%? And it will. But at this point in time, we are still reliant on the cryptocurrency regs, on the rules. We know 32 bills were just tabled in Congress just the other day. So all of this is moving towards utility, utility, utility. The more utility there is in the XRP ecosystem, the more demand there will be for XRP. And demand raises price because unlike the Fed, Ripple is not going to just continuously and endlessly print more XRP out of thin air. There's a finite supply. And so guys, this brings me to this. Gold will never hit 1,500. This from Rob Art, by the way. Bitcoin will never hit 1,000. No one will drive electric cars. Oil will never go to $0. And XRP will never be $1,000. Do you agree? I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.